Storyboarding means effectively doing a very, very, like a comic book, going out and literally drawing your entire production. So every story I do, I draw a little graph like this, and in each frame I map out exactly what we're going to be doing. If I'm doing a story on a bricklayer, maybe I start with a brick wall. And I say, this guy makes brick walls for a living. Maybe then I have an interview with the guy. Sorry, terrible drawing. Maybe then I have a shot of his or her spade, putting the cement. Maybe then I explain step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and a whole step-by-step process about how to make brick walls and what goes into making a good brick wall as opposed to a really bad brick wall. But for every single story I do, we have this process. Went from Alan, yeah, exactly. We're setting up every single image. We're storyboarding. So then it's like paint by numbers. You know when you go out that I need to achieve this, and I will have an edit. We're now going to go through a little bit of strategy. Effectively, when we think about video, there's a great thing called the YouTube Creators Playbook, which lists out various types of video. But there's 3 main types. There is, I'm going to close that down. There is hub, hero, and hygiene. Hub content is your everyday sort of stories. It's your everyday, what did you guys do? What's the latest in your workplace? It doesn't fundamentally build a new audience. It just keeps your existing audience there. Updates, latest product that you're working on, latest service, latest customers, latest skills that you've been doing. Hygiene is really interesting. Hygiene is highly searchable content. 5 tips to make a great brick wall. Top 10 haircuts in 2018. Chef gives the perfect recipe for the very best omelette in the world. These are all highly searchable. They'll come up again and again. That's your hygiene content. Your hero content is your viral video. And that's the one we're really interested in. The inspirational piece. The piece about unsung heroes. The piece about people that are using skills to change the world. Using skills to change people's lives. That's the stuff that I think will go viral. That's the hero stuff. This gives you an idea of the 3 types of video content that you have that effectively you should be considering. Now, at #OurStories, we kind of have a content strategy that looks a little bit like this. It's kind of a big triangle, and we look at which kinds of videos have the highest return on investment. And for us, at the moment, live video is very, very, very important to us. It has a huge return on investment. The amount of time we spend against the amount of returns we get. A live video gets 10 times more comments and engagement than a normal video. So lives are a big part of our pyramid. We then focus a lot on the stories format. The stories format being on Instagram and Snapchat and these kinds of platforms. And we also then focus on little 1-minute videos. And right up the top of this pyramid is your sort of mobile storytelling piece. Your piece about your one. Let me pull this up in a neater fashion for you guys. You got your live video down the bottom. You got your stories function, which goes to, so live video is pretty much for Facebook. It's also for Insta. It's also for YouTube. And from that live video that you produce, you can always save it to a camera roll. And from there, you're able to produce your stories, which is primarily for Instagram. And from your stories, you're able to produce the viral video. And that lives, hopefully, on all platforms. So imagine that live is the baseline of your pyramid. Stories format on Instagram is the second. And the viral video is the third. Those are the 3 types of video we're going to be exploring today. And now we're going to get into the editing portion. How to actually... let's start out with lives. Because lives are very, very, very important. I want to share with you guys Yusuf's and Sumayya's top 10 tips for good live broadcasts. I'm going to try and bring Sumayya in again, so we have some Okay, I'll handle it. You need to work on your handwriting there, Crispin says. Absolutely. Many people in this group have skills. Handwriting is not one of mine, evidently. But hopefully you guys get the point. So I'll try and stick to more boards from now on. Probably a safer option. So these are our top 10 tips for live broadcasts. I know it's hard to read. Samir can also drop these into the comment section. But they read as follows. Number one, if you're doing a live broadcast, create suspense. The number one ingredient. Why are we watching the World Cup live in Russia right now? Because it's suspense. There's an A team and a B team, and you don't know which team is going to win. Same thing with a live broadcast. I would love to see live broadcasts where you guys have a live camera, slow TV, you're making something, because many of you guys are involved in skills and making something, but I don't know what you're making. Keep me engaged in the live to find out. Keep me engaged and keep me watching so that I have to find out what your live's about. That's what suspense is. You can create suspense and you can keep people watching. The next tip is engagement. The big difference between what we're doing right now, social media, live video, and TV, is that there's a two-way engagement. We need to really focus on how do we create a conversation. Maybe you do live broadcasts and you say to the audience, hey guys, I am a carpenter. Today tell me what to make and I'll make it for you. They can be in control of the narrative. That's engagement. Maybe it can be engagement in terms of the audience asking you questions about your craft or about your skill. Different forms of engagement. The next thing is don't try me in a studio. Get out of the studio. Take me into your workspace. Do live broadcasts from interesting spaces that TV wouldn't be able to get access to. Point number 4 is change the format. Doesn't have to look or feel like TV, guys. Doesn't have to be a news anchor delivering the news. No, you can be cool and candid and edgy and really get out of the studio. So change the format to get out of the studio. Schedule. If you're doing a live broadcast on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook, Instagram or YouTube rather, you want to let the audience know well in advance. If you're going live on Facebook at 4 p.m., put out a tweet at 2 p.m., put an Instagram post at 1. If you know that WorldSkills are going live around a big event, maybe it's a ceremony, share it with your audience well in advance. Say, hey guys, at 7 p.m. Eastern time or whatever the time may be, WorldSkills is going live. Come and join us. Create that momentum. The next point is good internet. 4G, internet, Wi-Fi, all of these things help when trying to do a good live broadcast. The next point is introduce the subject often. Assume that the person watching your video on a live broadcast 1 minute in is not the same person watching 5 or 10 minutes in. In fact, the average retention is about 10 seconds on many pages. So continue to reintroduce. Hey, if you're just joining me, I am designing a new or landscaping a new garden for somebody. 10 minutes later, hey guys, if you're just joining us, we are designing a new landscaping or landscaping a new garden for somebody. Continually reintroducing the subject. The next point is add text. On a normal Facebook video, 70% of the audience are not listening to the audio. On a live video, up to 90% of the audience are not listening. So add text where possible. And the next is timeliness. Normally we say on Facebook, go short, keep your video to a minute. But on this, go long. At least 10 minutes. Give your audience a chance to be here. I can tell you guys on this live, it took you guys a little while to be here. And finally, be cautious, especially if you're doing something that could be potentially dangerous, especially if you're working with children. Obviously, be very cautious. You don't want to be showing that live on a live broadcast and exposing your audience to things that may not be appropriate. So be very careful when doing live broadcasts, of course, whether you're on your personal accounts or whether you're working on WorldSkills accounts. It's very important to play it safe on live broadcasts. There's no going back. It's broadcast to the world, so you got to be careful about these things. Now I'm going to get into the video editing side of things, and I need you guys to download an app for me. It's called Quick, Q-U-I-K, Quick. And once you download that app, we can experiment with a few really cool techniques. So the app that you're going to download is called Quick, Q-U-I-K. Kim asked the spelling, and that is exactly what it is, Q-U-I-K. Got a little blue and white logo. All right, everyone's got it. I think we're time to rock and roll. Rock and roll, it's time to go. So, don't worry if you don't keep up with this demonstration. This will all be available in the group later, but we got to move quickly because we've got a lot to get through. So, you can watch this, you can try and keep up on your phone, or you can watch it again later. Let's do a little demonstration on my phone of what Quick looks like.
I am going to give you a very quick demonstration on one of my favorite video editing apps, and that is called Quick, Q-U-I-K. We'll start by going to the App Store, and you're going to search for it right there. And it's a free download, and we mainly use free apps. Quick is the app that you want to download, and we're going to open that up. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to press the plus button down the bottom, and it's going to take us into our camera roll. But I've actually got no pictures that I particularly use camera roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into Safari, and I'm going to go to Google Images, and then I'm going to type in WorldSkills, which is a little assignment I'm working on this WorldSkills program. And I'm going to start off by loading a bunch of imagery that is relevant to WorldSkills, which is taking place in Russia next year. So maybe I will start by getting a few interesting images that I like. I like this image, it's got the branding on it. I'm just going to hold that down. And different phones have a different way of saving images that you find online. Some of you guys, it may be a screen capture, or it may be taking getting your screen to capture an image, but I'm just going to swipe up and hit save. And I'm going to find a bunch more images. So let's go with these guys doing a bit of cooking. Click through to that. Again, hold it down and swipe up, and you get the save image option like that. And let's take this guy. He looks like he's polishing a car. And I'm going to save that. And let's grab these guys. They look like they may be doing a bit of Megatronics. I'm going to save that. And I want at least, I know this is a great one. Obviously the hairstylist is always good. And let's get a global picture, because WorldSkills really is always a global event. So I've grabbed all of those images, and I'm now right back into my app called Quick, Q-U-I-K. I'm going to click on it and my images, and I'm just going to select them. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So it looks slightly different on an Android, but it's basically the same principles. Of course, you can also insert video, but for just the purposes of this demonstration, we're just going to use stills for now. And in the top right-hand corner, I'm going to press the add button. It's now going to populate them into a timeline, and the first decision to make is which theme I use. And if I just turn up the audio so you can hear these themes.
I saw.
Each of these themes have got different subtitles, each of them have got different music, each of them have different transitions. You find the one that's most appropriate to you, that you particularly like the transitions, you like the music. So let's have a look at what I like. I think something a bit, there's one called Raw, it's not bad. So something like that. So that looks great to me. Now I'm going to click on the third icon at the bottom, the one that looks like a YouTube bites. I'm going to click on that. You get slightly different than Android, but largely the same. And then I'm going to find a timeline like so. And I'm going to start by deleting this opening title board. I don't really want that. So I'm just going to click on the pencil button. I'm going to hit delete, and that's gone. And I'm going to press OK again. I'm then going to come out to my timeline, and I've got each of the images in a row. I can scroll along. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold each of them, and I'm going to move them around like so to put them in the order that I want them in. The shots in the order we want them in, we're going to click on the pencil button, and we're going to write a line of text for each one. So let's start with guess where we going next. And swipe over to the next one, again hitting the text at the bottom. The world will meet in Russia. And let's go to the next one. Ready to eat well. dial up. These can be very, very short words. And get your game on. Because the competition is tough. And if you've got this little logo at the end, the quick logo, you can enable or disable that. We're going to disable, we don't want that. And right at the front, we see there's a little title board. I'm going to delete that, I don't want that. So now we have the link that we want them in, we've arranged, we've added text. We're now going to click on that little spanner on the bottom, just over there, and we're going to click on format. And at this point, we can choose whether we want it to be square, as it is now, which would sit, say, an Instagram post very well. Maybe we want to create vertical video to Instagram or Snapchat stories. Let's go vertical. Or maybe we want it cinema, 16:9, wide angle. That's something that we're going to potentially put up onto YouTube, for example. So you got those three options. I'm interested in Instagram today, so I'm going to square video like that. Click on the duration, and you can adjust accordingly. You'll see a little Instagram logo there. Press OK, and effectively you've created a very, very basic edit. You've created a little piece of video using 5 images. If we wanted to add another image, say you've forgotten to put in, you are again going to click on any one of the pieces, and you're going to click on these little side blue icons, and you're going to add a piece. And in this instance, we're going to add a piece of video just to show you how it works. So I'm going to go with this video, press add on the top right. Now I've got a video clip here, and I've got more options available to me. Trim option. Trim option lets me take these little yellow side bits in and out and choose where we start this video. If you scroll down here, we're going to manually edit, and we're going to press OK. We can then scroll along this bar, and we have another interesting button here called volume. At the moment, the volume is off, which means it's only taking music. If I press the button once, it says mix. That means it's taking a mix of both the music and the audio from the video. Press that button twice, and it's boosting the audio from the video. So if you can come out to timeline now.
First time ever at the front of the plane.
There's a video mix in there. Okay, through from here. And video.
First time ever at the front of the plane.
And back to text, but I don't want that, so I'm going to go back into the pencil, and I'm going to delete that. Now, effectively, in position to export, if I want, I can go back to this screen by clicking on the bottom left, rearranging different effects, seeing which one works better for me. But I'm relatively happy with this one. I'm going to go to the bottom right. I'm going to hit save. On Android, it looks different, and you get to a page like this. And on an iPhone, you're going to hit Photo Library to save it to Photo Library. On an Android, you're going to hit Save Without Sharing. Save Without Sharing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've saved it. I'm going to jump into my camera roll, and there it is. So the square video that we've made for Instagram. Easy as that. And now I can simply go to Instagram. I can start a new video, and I can drop that in there like so. It's ready to go. Add a bit of text. WorldSkills coming to Russia soon. Maybe add a location, Kazan.
So guys, that's a very, very quick demonstration about exactly how you can use Quick to make really quick and easy to use videos.
What's up, guys? I am going to give you a
quick
demonstration.
That was a little demonstration about how you guys can use Quick to make Instagram videos, to make Facebook videos, to make YouTube videos, to make Twitter videos, to make any videos really. just to summarize, you got to find your shots, source your material, whether you're shooting it yourself or finding it online. Obviously, if you're finding it online, make sure you have permission to use that footage. We don't want to use footage that isn't copyrighted. You then want to import it into the app. You then want to arrange it in the correct order that you want it in. You want to choose a theme that corresponds to the style of the video that you're working on, the right subtitles, the right music, the right transitions. You then want to add text to every shot. You then want to trim, if you've got videos, trim the ins and outs so you have the right sound bites, and hit the save button, and that's it. Within 3 or 4 minutes, you guys should all be ready to do it. The next format, we're going to talk to you guys about the stories format. Believe it or not, the biggest fundamental shift in social media is about to happen before our very eyes. To date, the way that we understand social media is a timeline, right? News feeds, timelines, lots of content on a timeline, scrolling. Facebook have said at F8, their latest developer conference, that by mid next year, the stories format, vertical, clickable, snackable videos presented at the top of your timeline in circles at the moment will be the dominant form of communication on social media. It will supersede, it will take over the timeline. So if you're not thinking about the stories format, you're not really thinking about the future of social media. So specifically looking at Instagram, we're going to look at the stories format. I'm working on the assumption that most of you guys know what the stories format is and you kind of have an understanding of how it works. I want to teach you a little hack for Instagram discoverability in the stories format, how to get more people to watch your Instagram stories. And it's super simple. It's about creating hashtags and hiding those hashtags. You guys are going to enjoy this one. This is a few tips.
We're going to go into Instagram and we're going to click on the top left-hand corner and we're going to open the stories format. And just to make things a little more interesting, I'm going to click on the little emoji down the bottom and I'm going to wear a face mask. So let's go with ears. That's always a fun one. The stories format is really exciting. There's a lot you can do with this space. At its heart, you have this white button, and you hold down that white button and you can take 10 or 15-second videos. If you're holding down on that button while you're still holding down, you bring your finger up the screen to the center of the screen. You can effectively zoom with one hand. It's quite a cool feature. So that's how you create a little video. At the top, you've got a whole bunch of options. You can add text. So let's say hashtag WorldSkills. Now this is something most people don't know, but you can actually add lots and lots of hashtags here. You can say hashtag hair, hashtag food, hashtag talent, sort of anything that's to do with your talent, hashtag jobs. Take a whole bunch of those and you can effectively leave them on screen if you want, but that looks kind of ugly. What we like to do is make them really small and throw them off the side of the screen, and effectively those are still discoverable with the hashtag without people actually seeing them on the screen. Really useful little feature. We also recommend going on to the top to the little emoji sign. Always put a location. I'm in Durban, so I'm going to put Durban. That makes you discoverable within the location stories. Very important if you want to increase the amount of people watching your stories. I'm going to again take it off screen, but it's still there. Very useful tool. Of course, within this menu, you've got the day of the week. If you want, you can, today being Wednesday, you can put that up if you want. You can also add the time, you can also add the temperature, a whole bunch of effects you can really use here. Your creativity is up to you. Polling is quite interesting. Just say you're a carpenter, and you're saying, hey, I'm making a chair, what color or what should make? And you give the audience an opportunity to a chair or a sofa, couch, and you can present that to the audience and they can decide what you can make. And I think any of you guys in any of the skills could use this polling in quite an interesting way to get the audience to determine what you're going to make. Of course, if you've got over 10,000 subscribers or followers, you'll get this little link at the top. This allows you to put a URL blah, 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 whatever you want to put. It means you could effectively link out to the world's website. You could link out to whatever you like. You will link out to more information. People could swipe up to get more access to content about what you're talking about. There's also this little button up the top, this little marker pen. And of course, this lets you draw all over the place, scribble around, scribble around, scribble around. Really, really useful feature when highlighting something you may be building, something that you may be on, a particular aspect of a project that you're doing. When you're done with all of that, all you're going to do is hit the Your Story button, and boom, it sends up to your story, and it's part of your collective story. And if you want to find my Instagram, it's Yusuf Omar SA. And if you want to find our company, of course, you can find us at #stories. And that's a little introduction about how you guys can use the stories function to do some really, really, really cool stuff right here in the Instagram stories format. So we're going to go into Instagram and we're going to click.
So guys, it gives you a little bit of ideas of what we can do with the stories format on Instagram to share our skills. Really interesting platform. Instagram is growing incredibly fast. I think it's a massive, massive priority, and it's really a good way to help convey this message that skills really can change lives, that we can empower people with skills, that we can inspire them with skills to do so many great things. So yeah, something's important to consider, something for you guys to start working out ways. I'm really just trying to inspire you with lots of different techniques, and it's up to you guys to take this forward. No matter what stories you're doing, whatever platforms you're on, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you are doing the stories format or doing a live broadcast, so important to include as much diversity as possible, a diversity of ethnicities, a diversity of races, a diversity of gender. We should see gender equality in your videos coming through. We definitely don't want to see a video where it's all men on a very male-dominated industry. You want to see gender parity where possible. I think a large part of skills changing lives is about addressing these kinds of marginalized groups, addressing those that are previously disadvantaged, and really saying that everyone has an equal opportunity now. Everybody has an equal opportunity when it comes to skills, and we should highlight some of those success stories. And I think even more so, if you can find women that are doing skills that are conventionally seen or historically seen as male-dominated industries, that will be an even more interesting video. It'll be even more interesting content. So I recommend you go out of your way to find stories that challenge people's prejudice, that challenge people's misconceptions about your skill set, about you, what you do, and say, actually, it's not what you think. There's people that look like this and this and this, and lots of people from lots of different backgrounds that do the skill set.